I am going to need more time to get into the post office thing.
You're going to want to take like 45 minutes on that.
Yeah, I'm going to want to do 45 minutes of this. But we do have a clip of Pete Buttigieg. I mean, this is the one thing about Buttigieg that I think he has right is like he understands at this point he's made his pivot. Yeah. Right? Like Pete Buttigieg
Weird flex,
9 months
but
ago,
okay.
9 months ago was an ardent supporter of Medicare for all, actual Medicare for all, single payer. He was so strident in his support of single payer like 2 years ago that he was mocking somebody on Twitter about it. Like, I'm so supportive. I'm going to sign a document practically and tweet it out. And at the beginning of his campaign, he also talked about coming up with it was a little bit of a kludgy mechanism in which to pack the Supreme Court or in some way to make it less politically viable. But it was an earnest one that he had borrowed, I think, from this guy, Matt Ford, if I'm not mistaken, in New Republic or some version of it. But it was indicative of him willing to deal with institutional problems and unfairness that we have in terms of the Senate, in terms of the Supreme Court. He's since abandoned that as well. So he's made his pivot. And so now he is going to be rock solid about his corporatist, right-leaning credentials. So kudos to him on that. But in practice, not that happy about it. Here he is basically telling a teacher, a la Chris Christie. There's a little Chris Christie quality to this. Politer, much politer, of course. That he is going to, in fact, attend a fundraiser hosted by Reed Hastings, who is a billionaire Netflix CEO, who has dumped millions of dollars into pro-charter groups that smears teacher unions. And I will tell you, I have close to firsthand knowledge of the way that charter schools will filter out, not explicitly, but will not drive them out, but push out families, students that may have challenges that typical students don't have, because dollar for dollar, dealing with those kids is not profitable. And charters want profits, even when they're nonprofit. They have far more sort of profit motive, or they have a credentials and metrics motive. There are some exceptions to that, but this is one of the things that's highly problematic, and you need very, very strict regulations and limitations on charters, and they have them in a couple of states for them to be effective. But pouring money in there for their political campaigns to attack teachers' unions is step one in trying to get more for-profit charters and charters with less accountability to the public for the public dollars they're spending. And here is Pete Buttigieg saying, hey, I've been whiff-waffling on a lot of stuff. I'm not going to do it on this.
Is funding protesters that are right outside of here today. He's the CEO of Netflix. Reed Hastings has also funded private charter schools. You say you're against vouchers, you say you're against private charter schools, but yet on Monday, you're going to be at a fundraiser in Palo Alto where he's going to be one of the hosts. In the labor movement, there's a saying, you can only be on one side or the other. Will you keep Reed Hastings, who's fought the teachers' unions, as a host on that fundraiser on Monday? Or will you drop him from the list?
So I'm very clear where I stand on these issues. There are 700,000 donors to my campaign. Mm-hmm. Some of them may disagree with me on some of those issues, but my stance will not change, including my support for teachers and my support for labor.
So you'll keep him as a host. Wait, one question. Will you keep him as a host on the fundraiser, Reed Hastings? It's a yes or no question.
I have no plans to make a change there. The fundamental fact of where I stand in my support for labor.
But wouldn't some people say that's a sign that you're not truly committed to organized labor and you're just willing to say anything?
I will say where I stand.
Then why not drop Reed Hastings from the fundraiser?
Are you asking me a question or are you debating me?
No, I'm trying to get you to answer the question.
Yeah, sure. So the answer to the question is that my position is clear and it will not change, even if somebody who supports my campaign disagrees with me on certain issues.
I still can't quite tell. Maybe they needed to have a debate to figure out what the answer was.
Like, why is he even pretending he supports organized labor at this point in time? He's not fooling anyone.
Oh, that's not true. He's
God.
fooling plenty of people. He's fooling plenty of people.
It makes me so mad.
I think, look, this is what's problematic about this guy is that, if you say like, look, and I think what he's trying to say is, I have 700,000 billionaire donors who are hosting me at this event. So they all can't possibly think they have more power over me than others. Right?
Right. But the number of donors.
I love how he says, like, I've got 700,000 donors. So the one guy who is holding a fundraiser for me that is bound to bring in an inordinate share of my funding relative to those other 699,999,000 people has no sway over me
just
whatsoever.
Like the person who, there's somebody who gave me $100 with their credit card number.
Exactly.
We might have some disagreements too.
Yeah.
That is what's so great. I mean, the disingenuity of that guy is off the charts.
What is scary about him to me is exactly that. His ability to sort of get up there and say something he knows is BS and deliver it. I mean, that is, when people freak out about him being a McKinsey consultant, that is the thing that they are afraid of, is the ability to go into a situation and say something that is really just based on an ideology that is really not in any way sort of like a function of the context. And I'm going to get to this Postal Service story about Pete Buttigieg. I'm going to do it another day because I need some time on this one because I don't like that. All right, let's